TV, I'm about to get ready to do a very deep breakdown on a situation going on with Minnesota with Daunte Wright, and I'm going to delve deep into this, and it's crazy because it's sad that like a young brother have to go through this situation. I want to say that off first, and I want to really delve into the symbolism behind all of this stuff, and it literally blew my mind as I paid attention to it. So I'm going to play the clip and I'm gonna chime on in.
I just want to talk a little bit about the day that I got the phone call from my son 2 days ago at 1:47 was the worst day of my life.
Listen to this right quick. Listen one more time, y'all. Let's pay attention to
Two
this.
days ago at 1:47 was the worst day of my life.
All right, let's delve deep into this because what I want y'all to pay attention to, they got the same lawyer. Again, they have the same lawyer that we've been seeing in all of these cases, Benjamin Crump. He was with the Trayvon Martin. He was with the Sandra Bland, Ahmad. I believe he was with Kendrick Johnson as well. Y'all did a video on that. And just like look at this, pay attention to the rainbow too. You see the color that she's wearing, the rainbow, the serpent, which represents nothing but the whole aspect of the illumination. And you heard what she said too, that at 1:47 is when she got the call. Let's delve into the I Can't Breathe with George Floyd. You know what I'm saying? And then when you look at it too, you had the aspect of Daunte Wright with the air freshener. I'm gonna delve into this a little later on, but when you pay attention to it, George Floyd outside his car and Daunte Wright inside the car. Come on, man. Symbolically, when you understand this stuff anyway, with the car represent nothing but like the body aspect, the vehicle. You can look at the like the body of Messiah, because like I've been breaking this down for a while now. Like the name Kara, the car comes from the name Kara, which don't mean nothing. The Ka meaning nothing but the aspect of the royal sacred bull. You might like the Messiah had the Longhorn salvation. Then you have the L, I mean, Ra aspect represent nothing but like the L, aka the royal rod. You feel where I'm going with this? So notice why he had to be inside the car, but George Floyd had the I can't breathe aspect because the air freshener, meaning you already know like Satan, the prince of air. I'll delve into this later on. But this is like the point I really want to make. And notice how he got shot as he tried to speed off. Like this stuff is crazy. Remember, you had the George Floyd situation that happened at 8:46 p.m. And what I noticed is when you pay attention to this, um, and the scriptures, when you go into all the scriptures dealing with chapter 8, verse 46, it all deals with the aspect of sinning and the aspect of like the Most High having anger against it. And when you go into the aspect of the 147, remember she said her son dies at 147, everything deals with like the Messiah coming into play. Notice how like King David, when Solomon was coming into fruition that he would have the throne, in the Messiah aspect when he saw Nathaniel coming unto him. You get where I'm going, and all of these things is all deep because I'm gonna really just keep this thing rolling. Let's play the clip right quick of the parents talking, and I'm gonna chime on in. Just notice everything that's going on in this clip, man.
He called me and he said,
Look at that. She's reading the script, y'all. Look at this.
Mom, I've just.
One more time. Let's look at it one more time.
He called me and
You see this? Keep it rolling.
he said, Mom, I've just been pulled over. I said, for what? They said they pulled me over because I had air fresheners hanging in the rearview mirror.
Now you hear they said air fresheners hanging in the rearview mirror. Now what I want to talk about, you already know this happened in Minnesota, aka the Twin Cities. We know Minnesota is known for the Twin Cities, aka duality. And remember George Floyd, remember he said I can't breathe. And notice how you remember I had did a breakdown about when a cop had his foot on the neck, that represent the aspect. Remember when the Messiah was crucified, he was crucified on the land of Golgotha. And when you got the foot on the neck, all that represents is the aspect of like trying to not make sure that he will rise up and keep him crippled and paralyzed. That's what that whole aspect represent, the I can't breathe. Satan is called the prince of air. And when you understand duality, the Gemini, is the twins. And what is it? The air sign. So notice how she said that he had air freshener on his rearview mirror because that represents the aspect of the return of the Messiah. Here the whole aspect of the air freshener, like cleansing the air, Satan being the prince of air. So that's all represent the Messiah coming to destroy the the Satan's kingdom. But let's keep this thing flowing.
I said, okay, we'll take them down. And then he said, well, they're also asking for insurance. And I said, well, when the police officer comes back up to the window, give him the phone and I can explain and give him all the insurance information. He said, okay. And then...
Look at that. Let's just really delve into this, because what I want to talk about, which literally got me going, is his name is Daunte, which don't mean nothing but lasting and enduring. And we already know about the aspect of the saints. What is it told? That the saints who last and endure shall be saved. And when you go into his name Wright, his name is son of the Wright, aka son of the carpenter. What is the Messiah? He's what? The carpenter, hence son of the right or righteous. This is what all this stuff is always in our face every time. And what I want to do is delve deep into this, because I'm actually going to keep this thing rolling. Let's keep this thing flowing. George Floyd did the what? The I Can't Breathe, right? And George Floyd actually was 46 years old. So what's his name? Daunte Wright dies at 20 years old, right? George Floyd, remember, he had the counterfeit $20 bill. That was the whole aspect of him leading to his death, allegedly. So when you go into Daunte's right age, he's 20 years old. George Floyd had the $20 bill, right? Let's keep this thing flowing, man. This stuff is all in our face. Because what I want to talk about too is how he died on he actually died on 63rd Avenue. You see how I said right here? And look, the journalist who shared the situation, her name was Kim Hyatt. And when the cop who killed him, her name was Kim Potter. I'm gonna get into her later on, but she was 26 years old. And remember, I already said how George Floyd he died at 46, and then he had the $20 bill, and then Daunte Wright dies at 20 years old. You see where I'm going with this? That's a 26-year difference between George Floyd and Daunte Wright. And notice that the cop who kills him, she was 26 years old. But the journalist, remember I said the cop name was Kim? Her name was Kim Potter. And then the journalist who released the photo of all of this stuff going on, her name was, she had the video, I'm sorry. Her name was Kim Hyatt. Look at that, y'all. And then when you look at this too, it was a whole situation happened where on 63rd and Lee Avenue in Brooklyn Center. Now, when you understand Brooklyn, if you understand that too, is the aspect of, it's called the Air Bridge Harbor, that Twin Cities frame, man. You see where I'm going with this? It's the whole aspect of the Twin City. And then when you know what the name comes from, Brooklyn comes from what? The Dutch, meaning nothing but the broken land. You feel where I'm going? But like I said, he died on 63rd and Lee Avenue out in Brooklyn Center out in Minnesota. Notice, remember FBG Duck, he was from 63rd 63rd Street, and remember he died at 26. Notice the cop who killed Daunte Wright was 26 years old. And remember the whole aspect of the Brooklyn Center. Notice Daunte Wright died at 20 and Pop Smoke died at 20, and he from Brooklyn. You feel where I'm going? Because when you understand this thing right here, you see it right here, 20 years old, and the cop was 26. So when you look at this right here, the whole theme of them doing this is so crazy. Can you remember the whole aspect of civil rights, which led to what? You voting. You feel where I'm going? So when you know about all of this stuff, all of this is nothing but the black. When they talk about the black man dies, all of this is all Saturn God energy, the black cube. You feel where I'm going? Because when you understand the whole aspect, notice how she said that he was in the car and got pulled over and he had no insurance. When you understand the black on the engine of a vehicle, the engine belt, what color is it? It's black. So they want to keep us in this loop of the whole aspect of the racism and all of this stuff that's going on. This stuff is right in our face. Remember I said George Floyd died at 46. So let's keep this thing flowing, man, because it's no way around it. Because when you understand the black, I had a video about why Black History Month was created in February, because February was the month of like the mother goddess menstrual after she gave birth to Heru. You feel what I'm saying? Like in the whole aspect of the pagan aspect. But when you know about the black represents the female, right? And it's a feminine color, in a sense of like how in the duality aspect. And when you understand the white, it represents, remember how Satan disguised as an angel of light. It's masculine energy, which is rulership and law and order. So pay attention to this with Obama's signature. And I'm gonna delve deep into this. Notice Obama's signature looked like sperm fertilizing an egg. So this is how they able to do that. That's why they always focus on the black agenda, because it represents nothing but like the aspect of the feminine being impregnated with their agendas and everything coming into fruition. Let's keep this thing flowing, man. And notice their photo of choice. And notice their photo of choice. They used the photo where he has the Chicago hat on. We already know that Chicago is where Obama's from. Well, not from, but he, was there during this time of him growing up, going through the law and everything, enforcing, like teaching law and everything at Chicago University. But notice the whole aspect of I can't breathe, and the air freshener in Chicago is the Windy City. You feel where I'm going? I'm gonna delve deep into this, y'all, because if you see, you got the baby. He holding his 1-year-old baby. This is his baby's birthday party. And when you pay attention to the tree behind him, I'm gonna delve into this because you see the umbrella and you see the barbecue pit. Because the barbecue pit aspect, remember you had the golden calf, and then you can look at it too, like the barbecue represent nothing but like the aspect of hell. You feel where I'm going with this? And when you look at it too, behind him, you got the umbrella, because that represent nothing but the aspect of like the umbrella, like the head, aka the Messiah. We know what an umbrella does. It protects you from what? Rain. So when you understand how they work in these, all like with the Hollywood and all of these things like that, like their God is like known as the Rain Man. This is why remember Rihanna had the umbrella song and all of that, because that represents this. All they're saying is practically what they want to do, because you see the tree. When you understand all of this stuff right here, which is so crazy, it blew my mind, because when you understand masonry and when you understand that whole aspect, like how the Messiah is a carpenter. Remember how I said his name means son of a carpenter, his name Wright. So when you understand the whole aspect of the tree being uprooted, you use a pulley system, right? And then you know what all that is practically the Lewis stone. Remember I said that the Lewis is the stone that the Freemasons reject to use, because it's Messiah being the headstone, the cornerstone of the world. So when you understand the whole aspect of how you see him with the tree and everything behind him, this is why they use certain pictures, because what they're trying to say is there, because with the Messiah, he's going to uproot their kingdom and destroy it. What they want to do is they want to practically say that they're, planting us back and keeping us rooted in the system. This is why it was a birthday party for his son, and practically saying we're being reborn or born into, to the system again in the loophole. Remember when I was talking about the whole aspect of the engine, the belt rep is being black, and it leads you, keeps the heart of the car going. Why they said that he had no insurance and why he was driving with expired plates. You feel where I'm going? Let's keep this thing flowing. Because when you use the pulley system to uproot the tree, what is it, on a chuck axis, and like basically like the smaller the pulley, like the smaller like the smaller the pulley on the chuck axis, the faster it spins and gets the job done. And notice the whole aspect of the chuck axis, because remember the name Chuck comes from what? The name Charles, which don't mean nothing but free man. But if you ever seen the show Supernatural, remember they said Chuck is God, right? And if you know about Chuck on the show, he was from Kansas City, which was nothing but, Kansas is called like the city of the star. You feel where I'm going? And when you understand this too, I'm gonna get to the Port Arthur later on. But when you understand the Port Arthur Railroad, it goes from Kansas City to the Gulf of Mexico. And remember the Messiah, Most High already said that he'll, be seen within the Gulf. But when you pay attention to that right here, the whole aspect of the train being nothing but like the train of salvation. But I ain't really want to delve off too far. But let's go deeper into the whole aspect of the umbrella. If you remember the song called "Locked Up" by Akon back in the day, you see how he's in the leopard print, and you see how he has the umbrella, because this was Styles P, I believe. But like basically the umbrella represent them wanting to be in what? Under the Lewis, under the protection of the Most High. But they no longer it, so they locked up. They practically like prisoners of this world, of this realm. And you see my point right here because of the mason bricks. You feel where I'm going? And you see above them, it's like it represents nothing but like the whole aspect of hell. Hint the barbecue pit by the tree. They're practically saying that we're going to be planted in hell. And they don't, we won't be able to get to the protection of the Most High. That's what they're trying to say. You know what I mean? Because they want to mislead as many people as possible. And the whole aspect of the mason bricks represent nothing but the whole aspect of building the Illuminati pyramid. You feel where I'm going? The stones. And you see right behind him how he has defense. You see this right here. All that represents the whole aspect of the fence. Remember, I was just talking about the whole aspect of the mason bricks. This is why they use certain pictures. Let's keep this thing flowing, man. It's crazy. Now the lady who killed him, remember her name, like I said, is Kim Potter, right? And when you know the name Kim, all the name Kim means is nothing but the royal fortress. But her last name is Potter, which don't mean nothing but what? Potter is a worker of the iron and clay. You feel where I'm going with this? And when you understand the iron and clay in scripture, all that represents is nothing but the whole aspect of one world order, man. You feel where I'm going? One world order, good and evil, a unbalanced, unclean world. That's all it's practically saying. And you remember how they said that she made a mistake and used her gun instead of a taser? Because what does a taser do? It sends lightning. It sends light, like electricity. AKA, you can look at that as like lightning. Because remember I said his name meant nothing but the son of the carpenter. And when you go into Matthew 24:27, as it's written, the Son of Man, aka the Messiah, for as the lightning coming out of the east shineth unto the west, so should the coming of the Son of Man be. Hence why she said, "Oh, I made a mistake and use my gun instead of my taser." Because what is what she's saying? Remember that goes back to the barbecue pit, the fire. You feel where I'm going with this? This stuff is literally no joke, and it's all in our face. You feel what I'm saying? Time and time again. So I'm going to keep this thing flowing right quick because what I want to tackle and get even deeper with is how let me pull it up. How his hat has 1837 on it. And you see how I said the year Chicago was established. And what I wanted to go back to the year 1837, notice it was a great year of unemployment, economic depression, like the cotton when everything was losing its value, financial failures. Pay attention to everything going on right now while they're saying they want to literally rebuild the economy. You feel what I'm saying, man? And notice back during that time too, what do you have? You had the first electric printing press patented, patented. Like basically that was the them patenting the whole aspect of pushing the media. This stuff is deep, and I'm gonna get back to the Port Arthur later on about the whole aspect of Texas. But notice too how Chicago became incorporated as a city, and in Canada gives its black citizens the right to vote. Remember, I've been talking about the whole aspect of the whole aspect of the black and everything getting merged into the system, because when you understand the whole aspect of integration back in the 60s, what was it about? It was about the rights to vote. What do Obama say? He say vote, don't wait for a savior. You feel what I'm saying? He said this plenty of times because they already know their whole aspect of their agenda. And notice how Prince Philip just died not too like what a week ago. And then notice during that year the British throne was ascended, and somebody the Queen Victoria took place of the throne once King William IV died. And notice it too how I said it was in Brooklyn center out in Minnesota. But notice how, Minnesota is also in the Brooklyn area. Not the Brooklyn area, but it's not far from the Brooklyn area. It's like under the Queens route. You feel where I'm going with this? Like, notice how all of this stuff is tied together, man. And what I want to talk about too, remember I said she was 26. The shooter, the cop. So when you add this day, like 2 days after, or a day after, 2 days after he died, which was crazy because you already know, which is so deep, because the schedules for the NBA is already set for that year. You remember the finals was what, in October, then the season started back like a couple of months later. So when you pay attention to that, notice how, you remember I said the Brooklyn Center in Minnesota is where he was killed. Notice why Brooklyn, New York came to play against the Timberwolves in Minnesota. And notice the score was 127-97. When you add 1 plus 2, which is 3, plus 7, which is 10, plus 9 plus 7, what is that? 26. You remember I said that she was 26, the cop killer. I mean, the shooter, more so. You see what I'm saying? Like, this stuff is all together. Let's keep it flowing. Now, you remember all of this happened in the Twin Cities. And you remember you got your boy Steven Jackson, you got your boy George Floyd. Steven Jackson, what did he call George Floyd? He called him his twin. Now, what tripped me out is, remember I already said Minnesota played against Brooklyn Nets, right? Now, back in 2003, you had the NBA Finals. Now, during that time, it was the New Jersey Nets, and Steven Jackson actually won a championship against the with the San Antonio Spurs against the New Jersey Nets. Notice how this whole thing had to happen with the Nets, going against the Timberwolves. But I'm gonna delve into that a little later on. But when you pay attention to this, remember I said George Floyd died at 46. Notice the score after go back a little bit right quick. Notice after Steven Jackson scores, Jackson flying through the net. What is it? The score is 4-6 in the first quarter, right? Which is crazy. It's 4-6. And you remember I said George Floyd died at 46. So what I want to tap into right quick is when you go look back at that, which is crazy, it's because when you know about how his name is Steven Jackson anyway, and when you know about Stephen in the scriptures, remember when he became a martyr, what happened? Remember, he was full of the Holy Spirit. He looked up to heaven and saw the glory of God standing at the right-hand side. You feel what I'm saying? So notice why all of this stuff is happening, because remember I said that Daunte Wright, his name meant nothing but like the son of the carpenter, aka son of the Messiah. And this is crazy because when you remember I was talking about the whole aspect of Texas, remember I was talking about the Port Arthur aspect about about Chuck. Remember I was talking about Chuck being from Kansas City. Remember I was mentioning about the whole Chuck system to uproot the tree. Remember I was talking about that, how you use the Chuck to like uproot the tree with the Lewis, practically the Lewis. And when you understand that, remember I was talking about Port Arthur, right? And when you know about Port Arthur, about the whole aspect of the train, the train of salvation, Steven Jackson is actually born in Port Arthur. And this is what I want to delve deep into, because remember this year you had what? You had the winter storm out in Texas. Remember last year you had the whole George Floyd situation, and this year you had the whole situation out in Texas with the winter storm. And you remember I was talking about the whole aspect of the Great Reset. That's why they using this, because they're trying to tap us back into that loop of us being implanted back in the system where we have no strength, and they can just continue to do what they want against those who are ignorant of the knowledge. Because when you understand the whole aspect of Texas, remember Texas is the Longhorn state, aka the Messiah, Longhorns of salvation, and then Texas is the Lone Star state. Remember the Most High said, "No God is with him; he does everything alone." Remember that. So when you look at Port Arthur, Texas, what is it? The Golden Triangle. You feel what I'm saying? This stuff it's that serious. It's this serious, man, and they do everything right in our face. Because remember, George Floyd was from where? From Houston. He was from North Carolina. Remember, he grew up in the 3rd Ward of Houston. But what I want to talk about, to take it even further right quick and delve even deeper into this, when you pay attention to this right here, it was a situation. I'm gonna get into this in a minute, but it was a situation back in like 2013, right? It was 2013, and cut that out, bro. It was a situation back in 2013 where it was a player named Steve Francis who used to play on Houston, and Steven Jackson, the one who was with George Floyd, and they had a situation at a club where he was choking out Steve Francis. And you remember George Floyd had the situation of the what? I can't breathe. What, like 7 years later? Come on, y'all. This stuff is not by mistake, man. And like, let's keep it rolling, because when you pay attention to that, Steve Francis wore number 3 and Steven Jackson wore number 3. That's the twin right there. Both of their name is Steve, man. Stephen, Steve. Come on, y'all. And then let's delve deep into this, because what I want y'all to see right quick, how he has what? The viola right on his chest. And all of Viola is a lily flower. And you already know in Hosea 14, what does it say? It says that I will be as the dew unto Israel. He should grow as the lily and cast forth his roots as Lebanon. You see this? And all the lily is practically like the saint logo. And what I want to talk about too is Stephen Jackson went to high school at Abraham Lincoln High School. And remember, I already said that dude was literally born in Chicago, Daunte Wright. And when you pay attention to that, the Abraham Lincoln High School, where was Abraham Lincoln from? Remember, he was from he grew up in Illinois. Come on, man, and notice it's the B, because what I want to tap into and get even deeper right quick is remember I was talking about the Nets versus Brooklyn. You had the game Nets versus Brooklyn out there the day, like 2 days after Daunte Wright dies, right? And then when you look at it too, you have the player. It was on the Minnesota. He's 20 years old. He's 22, but he wears number 20, and he's actually from he's from Georgia, which is crazy. He's from Georgia because all this stuff been going on with Georgia. Remember how Georgia was the face of election and all of that. Notice how his high school was called Shiloh, and when you know about Shiloh, that ain't nothing but the name of the Messiah. Genesis 49:10, a skeptic should not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver between his feet until Shiloh come. You see that right there, and how the guy name is Josh, and he wears number 20, and Daunte Wright died at 20 years old, man. And he went to Georgia Tech High School too. Georgia Tech College. And notice how the mascot is a bee as well. And when you understand the whole aspect of the bee, you have the aspect of a hornet and a bee. The bee produces honey, aka the land of milk and honey, and the hornet is nothing but the aggressor. Don't produce any honey. It's just an enemy. Come on, y'all. How the heck do they got both of the same logos, mascots? Steven Jackson and Josh, the new player, he been in the league a couple years, probably a year or two. And notice how he literally has the same mascot as Steven Jackson, man. And then I want to get into another player too. His name is Anthony Edwards. And what tripped me out, he went to Georgia too for high school. And he actually went to a school called Thorough Holy Spirit in Atlanta, Georgia. Hence the whole aspect of Shiloh and Holy Spirit. And what I want to delve into is how his school mascot is the Panther. And I'm going to get into the T a little later on. I'm going to get into that. But the Panther, when you understand that, like with the T'Challa versus Killmonger, all that represented, remember T'Challa had got killed on the Infinity War because he was bringing everybody together in Wakanda, and Thanos came to destroy it because all he represented was like the Obama with the one world order. That's all he represented. It represents nothing but the beast out the sea in Revelation 13, which is nothing but like the leopard, aka you can look at like the leopard, jaguar, panther. Practically all the same thing. You feel what I'm saying? And I want to take it back deep because remember I said how Steven Jackson beat the New Jersey Nets, and how the Brooklyn Nets played against Minnesota after Daunte Wright died in Brooklyn County out in Minnesota. And what tripped me out too is how back in 2006, the same day, like a couple days after Daunte Wright dies, a couple of days after, this is 2006, Daunte Wright died, April 11th? This is April 14th. Steven Jackson played against the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves record back then was 33. Come on, y'all. And when you understand the 33, what does the 33 represent? 33 represent nothing but the 33 degrees of masonry. And you remember I was talking about how Steven Jackson choked out Steve Francis. Remember George Floyd, I can't breathe. And what tripped me out too is literally a day before Daunte Wright dies and before Brooklyn plays Timberwolves, it's a player named LaMarcus Aldridge. He's 35 years old, and he said that he had an irregular heartbeat before the game. So that's when he retired on April 10th. And Daunte Wright died on April 11th. And remember I already said that he got shot instead of being hit with lightning, aka hit with the taser. And hear how he had an irregular heartbeat. And when you understand that too, You remember the whole aspect of how the heart pushes blood, which pushes oxygen to the brain. And when you understand the whole aspect of I can't breathe and the air freshener, pay attention to that, man. Like all of this stuff is connected, yo. And it's crazy because LaMarcus Aldridge used to play for the Portland Trailblazers, which is nothing but what? The spiral, which is nothing but the loop. You feel where I'm going with this? Let's keep this thing flowing, man. It's insane. I was talking about Anthony Edwards, the Minnesota player, how he played for Thero, aka Holy Spirit Prep in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, when you look at it, remember I said the T represents nothing. I mean, you remember I said how his school was called the Panther, aka the One World Order, One World Religion. And when you look at that, which is so deep, how you got the T Panthers, right? When you understand the T, that represent them, trying to say practically that they can behead the Messiah. You feel what I'm saying? That's practically their way of saying that they want to behead the Messiah to where he won't be the head. And it's just aka like the ark that they can take over so that their kingdom won't be taken over. That's all it represents. Like this stuff is all in our face because he actually had a dunk the other day too. Breakdown on this on my video called Power in the Name Part 1. But I'm going to play this clip right quick because this is very symbolic what just happened. Now, he actually dunked on an Asian guy. His name is Yuta I think it's Watanabe, if I'm not mistaken. And before I get into that, the guy is an Asian. And what I want to mention, like I did on a video I did about Atlanta situation, about the church of Ephesus, that the Messiah said that he know they works and everything, and how they always practically kept the, had patience, and they did not bear what was evil, but that they forgot their first love, which represents nothing but the loving the Messiah, loving the Most High with all your all your heart, mind, and soul. And you know how it was practically the church of Ephesus is at the Asia Minor. But I'm gonna play this clip right quick because when you understand the whole aspect of the timber wolf, the wolf represent like the Messiah being a lone wolf because you have the tribe of Benjamin, which is what? The wolf. So when you understand the wolf aspect, it represents like being a lone wolf, like the Messiah said, I would tread in the wine press alone. But let's play this clip right quick because they're going against the Toronto Raptor. Remember, I've been talking about the beast out the sea, the raptor, the dragon, the dinosaur, however you want to put it. But let's keep this thing flowing. Pay attention to this.
Lucky that wasn't turned over. Anthony!
And this is the dunk of the year. And he dunked on an Asian dude, and you know how the Asian practically is joined up with the beast, because in Revelation 16 it talk about the kings of the Eastern Hemisphere, joining up with the beast to go to war with the saints. And let's delve deep into this because what I want to talk about right quick, let me go back to it. What I want to talk about right quick is how the Asian, his name means praise. His first name means praise. His name Yuta means praise. And his last name means cross. You feel what I'm saying? So let's delve into this because what I noticed too, and what I want to tap into, remember I was just talking about the whole aspect of the Texas. And you see how when you pay attention to this, on March 3rd, back in 1837, Texas got recognized as like a republic. And remember, I was just talking about the dude had established Chicago 1837. This stuff is all in our face. It's all in our face. And it's like I said, it's all about who has the eyes to see. Let's keep this thing flowing some more. Right here is Steven Jackson. This is him back in high school back in the day. And remember I said he played for Lincoln High School. And what I noticed is you notice the number 44 right under him, because the 44 represents what? The Obama being the 44th president. And you see our dude had on the hat which said, established Chicago 1837. Remember I already said Obama established, he was teaching law in Chicago at University of Chicago. And you already know I've been talking about the whole aspect too of the basketball player Anthony Edwards with the Panther being the mascot. And you know that all that represents is everything being under one world order, one world domination, one world law. Do what thou wilt. And you see how he was at the Abraham Lincoln. And when you know about the Abraham Lincoln, which is so crazy, in the scripture, the name Abraham don't mean nothing but the father of many nations. And remember, Abraham was shot in the back of the head while he was watching the stage play, right? And when you go into the Obama, look at the back of his head, it's a scar. Mysterious scars, man. And as it's written in Revelation 13, and I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast, and they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast and saying, who is like unto the beast, who was able to make war with him? Pay attention to how I just said the Asian just got dunked on, because that represent what? Nothing but the whole aspect of everybody, going and joining the beast. You feel what I'm saying? This is what all of this stuff was about. This whole situation was letting us know everything is just coming into fruition, man. Everything is coming into fruition. Let's keep this thing flowing some more. And it got me too is how they said that Daunte Wright, his which tripped me out, is how they said George Floyd, his girlfriend taught Daunte Wright in high school. And Daunte Wright had a learning disability as well. And he dropped out of high school because of it. Because when you understand that too, which is very symbolic, all that's practically saying is them trying to stop us from coming into the wisdom, coming into the knowledge. Remember, I've been breaking down the whole aspect anyway about the whole aspect of the pulley and everything, the pulley system with uprooting the tree. Remember that? And how they say he had a learning disability and all of that, man. It's crazy because they trying to say that practically we won't come into the knowledge. Hint, the baby, his being his birthday, why they got all of this in the background. None of this is by mistake, man. And I want to delve into George Floyd some more. George Floyd went to Jack Yates in high school, and he wore the number 88, which don't represent nothing but like the immortality and eternal Christ aspect. And when you understand Yates that he went to Jack Yates, hint the whole aspect of the Lion of Judah. And you see the Y representing like the heavens descending to the earth. That's all the letter Y represents. And you see like the name Yates anyway don't mean nothing but the gatekeeper, man. Come on, y'all. The gatekeeper. It's all in our face. You feel where I'm going? It's all in our face. And I'm just really want to tap into this because this is a very serious situation because we think everything just had to be on a movie, man. These are movies before our eyes. Huh? These are movies before our eyes. And it's like everything they do it don't always got to be a movie. Everything they do is the news everywhere. It's all these subliminal messages are everywhere. It's just about who has the eye to see. Or are you going to be the one trapped in a loop of just thinking, oh, it's just racism, man? But I'm actually going to end that right here. Thank you for watching Hide and Seek TV. Much more is coming. Peace.